Welcome into Sports Betting with Donnie, presented by RightWager.com. Welcome in, folks. It is Monday, new week, new money, an exciting week right here on Sports Betting with Donnie, presented by RightWager.com. This weekend, this Saturday, marks just about 5 months that I've actually had a play released on my website, RightWager.com, and that's going to end on Saturday. All the numbers we need are in for a great Major League Baseball season. So I hope you join the team and go to rightwager.com. But we got big news today. A lot of stuff going on in sports over the weekend. Interesting doings in Major League Baseball. Will the Cardinals ever play again? Morikawa with a beautiful final round of the PGA Championship out there in San Francisco. Beautiful sights. It's fun. I actually really like having the PGA Championships, some of the majors. Obviously, you can't have the Masters out there since it's played in Georgia every year. But having primetime golf is great. U.S. Open's out there, PGA's out there. I welcome it wholeheartedly. The worst ones, obviously, are the British Open because, they finish up by like noontime on a Sunday, and we miss most of it because players are teeing off in the middle of the night. But we got big news. We got big happenings going on right now. I don't want to waste any time on this. Let's dip into some of these hot topics today for a Monday, August 10th. These are your Sports Betting with Donnie hot topics of the day.
Right.
You know what these hot topics are. We know what the hot topic of the day is, and it's amazing that it's getting to this point, and it's amazing that we have to keep on talking about it. If you follow me on Pub Sports Radio, I do hot topic of the day videos all the time, and this just continues to pop up each and every time. Once, twice, 3 times a week, getting down to college football. Should they play? Should they not play in college football? So if we take a look here, and let's set the stage here. College football on the brink of collapse, at least for 2020 is what we're looking at. So if we take a look at college football overall, did a Periscope yesterday for the first time. Now actually you know how to use Periscope, so maybe I can certainly go on here. Welcome in, Taylor. How you doing? Nair, good day. James Ross, what's good? Thanks, everybody, for tuning in and checking in here. But let's get down to it. Let's not waste any more time. Power 5 conferences seem like they're teetering on the brink. And if you're watching through Twitter or TV, ESPN is a flat-out embarrassment. They're an embarrassment of a company to have a propaganda network that is designed with zero interest behind it on knowing what the actual facts and the truths of the matters are. And it's a shame because I'm listening to guys like Jalen Rose who have no idea. He's got no idea what he's talking about. And he's an honest opinion on a 5-man panel on Get Up this morning on what should take place in college football. You've got to be kidding me. I mean, talk about a guy that all he does is say, Michigan wins versus Ohio State. And who you got tonight? I got Michigan tonight. Enough with it. Enough with the nonsense and the fake examples on ESPN that they continue to run out here, including Brian Windhorst. It's not about political points with playing college football. It's not about if I want to see college football being played. It's about what the right maneuvers to use would be to have a successful college football season, the same way Amazon is still in business, the same way your grocery store is still in business, the same way 90% of the people in this country are back to work and working hard. College football players, but they could get damaged. They can get hurt. We're hearing all this nonsense come from all different sides, and specifically the majority coming from ESPN. Now, when we take a look at the Power 5 conferences, you saw the news coming out, the Big Ten. Only Nebraska and Iowa are actually voting to have the season. That's fine. That's fine. But I want to hear behind it because you see people saying, look, don't just sit behind the scenes and say who voted, who didn't vote. What are the reasonings behind this? Because if we are a country, and we must be one of the dumber countries of all time, even though we're the greatest country in the world, because the people that say you have to listen to science and data are the people that don't listen to science and data. Like when I see the words come out at ESPN, well, they have an epidemiologist and a doctor who are some of the presidents in the Big Ten. Are they not looking at the actual science and data that they tend to say, well, this is what I look at, this is what I create? Because it goes against everything. If we're taking a look, and you saw today from the absolute hotbed of this country of the coronavirus is in Florida. Florida still has 4 times less deaths than the state of New York. And the pandemic started early March, and now we're seeing right around roughly mid-August at this point. Still roughly 4 times. Everybody laughs at Florida, and then we look at New York as some sort of hero or bastion when they've killed just about everybody. No wonder you're through it in New York State. You killed everybody. Of course you're through it, and you're on the backside of it. You don't take a lap because you killed everybody and then say, look how well we did during the coronavirus. But if we take a look like simple stats, again, it's not supposed to be political in this. We're just supposed to look at numbers. Florida stinks. They handled it terribly. 8,000 deaths. New York, oh my God, geniuses, 35,000 deaths or whatever it is. Stop the madness. Then when you see Marco Rubio tweet something out, who cares about his political affiliation? And who cares about Ron DeSantis' political affiliation when he says, look at the numbers. Look at what's taking place. Look at who is actually affected, because that's what the ingredient is. It's not about old people. 90-year-olds don't play college football or college sports. So we're not caring about what old people factor into college football in the field. And again, if you're watching this or you disagree with anything, that's fine. I mean, that's fine. You could do that. But it's not about taking an emotional decision. But your kids. I have an 8-year-old kid. Looks like they're probably not going to go to school in the fall. The wife and I are looking at placing her into a Catholic school because they're going to try to give it a go. But then again, until the governor says you absolutely can't do it, you're probably just better off leaving as opposed to paying taxes and also to a Catholic school for your kid to go to. But my child is also 8 years old. She goes to summer camp all summer long with hundreds of kids. It's very important for kids at this point, mental health as well as average health. When I say average health, just being a healthy young kid. They need to grow. They need to mature. But also at the same time, I'm a parent. Do I want my kid to get infected with the coronavirus? No. Do I want my kid to pass away from the coronavirus? Absolutely not. Do I want anybody to be infected by the coronavirus? Absolutely not. We don't want that. But I'm also in the business of odds. And when I take a look at the odds of my child getting coronavirus or even being sick or worst case scenario, fatality, it's so infinitesimally small that it shouldn't factor into your day-to-day decisions. It just shouldn't. So if we take a look at college football, the hotbed, right? What is it? I believe the tweet was 15-year-olds to 22-year-olds have a death rate of 0.026. And that includes all 15 to 22-year-olds, not the top 1% of the top 1% who are incredibly healthy athletes that are playing college football. This includes everybody, diabetics, obese kids, everything all put together. We're not just looking at the college football players who are actually going to be on the field, and that's what we're worried about here. There are no piles of bodies from college football athletes that are passing away. There are no piles of bodies for kids needing to go to the hospital and have extended stays. It's just not there. So when Marco Rubio tweets everything, stupid senator, we don't listen to anything that they have to do. But it's not about who tweets it out. What happens if Barack Obama tweeted that out? Some people would look at that and just go, he's right. Barack's right. But that's not the way we should look at anything. If Trump tweets it out, he's wrong. Or if you're a Trump supporter, he's right. It should never look like that. It's not supposed to look like that. It's just not. So if 0.026 are dying as young adults, 15 to 24 in the state of Florida, you can also take a look at those, whatever 50,000 or however many thousands of kids were checked in to get that number. That's probably because they actually even had symptoms and went to go tested. Most people just aren't getting tested out of the blue if you're in the general public. So you could probably think that number might be 5 times as large, which means that number of 0.026 will be 5 times shorter than the 0.026 to begin with. So when you see the Big Ten and everybody getting scared, we're going to play a 10-man conference, we're not going to go out of conference, now we can't play anymore. Why are we not using facts, science, and data? And now people are standing on a podium now saying, hey, look at the long-term effects of what we're actually having here in this discussion. How do we know about long-term effects when we just found out about the coronavirus in March? Is that your last hill that you're going to stand on? But what about your heart? Let me go over some things that we have here in this country. We got McDonald's. We got Burger King. We got Wendy's. We got Pizza Hut. People by the millions eat that every day. You know what that does to your insides? You know what that does to your cholesterol level? How about when you walk into a convenience store and every other person in there is buying a pack of cigarettes? How about marijuana being legalized around the country so you could blow bones and fill up your lungs? How about going out to a bar? How about the sales of Bud Light, Coors Light, hard alcohol that will destroy your liver and give you cirrhosis? You could still do that as well. How about driving a car? You can get into a bad automobile accident. You have to look at the science and data and take your risks proportionate. If we're a gambler out here and we're taking a look at a game, imagine if I told you guys and you said, hey, you know what? My net worth overall, every penny I have is $100,000. And I came to you and I told you, look, you have a 99.99999% chance of winning this game. Ask yourself a question. Would you take the bet and push your $100,000 in the middle of the table, or would you back off and say, I have 0.000001 shot at losing my money. I won't take this bet. You have to put it down into its simplest terms of what actually makes sense. And getting back to all that, the McDonald's and, we do a lot of things that are bad. But one thing that is not bad is having healthy college age adults play football and being monitored and being social distance and having coaches and trainers and teammates that care about you and your well-being and getting the top health care if anything does go wrong. You know who's not getting that advantage? The kid that's sitting in North Philadelphia, the kid that's sitting in Central New Jersey, the kid that's sitting in Central Nebraska, who's at home, doesn't go anywhere, hangs out with his friends on the corner, never gets tested, never know if he gets coronavirus, never know if he passes it on to anybody else. Who's a better fit and more healthy for society? The college football kid on campus or those kids that are sitting at home? It's a simple decision. And even when you take a look at, risk versus reward over in colleges, right? Did you know that since the year 2000, 35 football-related deaths have taken place in Division I, II, and III athletics? 35. We haven't stopped playing football. We haven't stopped playing football. We know now that if you play football, there's a really good chance you will suffer head trauma and down the road, some sort of CTE or brain disorder, or maybe even some, forgetfulness as a nice word to use as you get older because you play football. We still play football every single weekend. These kids line up and play. And also, what happens if I told you in 2017, on a single Saturday, 2 kids passed away on the football field? One from a neck injury and one from a head injury. They passed away later on that night. We still play football. Each and every time you go out there, the inherent risk of just playing the sport. And now you're going to take it away from these kids, supposedly being really smart college presidents when they're not looking at science and data. How about even though the fact that we allow Power 5 conference teams, specifically the SEC and Georgia, to play cupcake teams like Southern, where you had, what year was it? 2000, I want to say 2017, also maybe 2016. The young kid from Southern University that had his neck snapped on the football field. Do you think it's fair that a kid from Southern University, I believe was a freshman, 170 pounds, can't line up. He's going up against the toughest in the SEC. He got his neck snapped. Did we stop playing cupcake football teams in college football? No, we didn't. If the bodies are piling up in college football right now, there's no question you'd have to shut it down and do better. But also the people out here that are saying, if the coronavirus is around, push it to the spring. Even if you get a vaccine, which who knows when it's going to come, it doesn't cure it. We get the flu, even though we have flu shots, we get the flu by the millions every single year. So during college football season, you will have the coronavirus strain. Who knows by the spring if you have a mutation of the coronavirus? Are we saying you can't play sports for the rest of your life, but you can go work a job, but you can go out and eat, but you can go to the beach, but you can go to the boardwalk? You could play golf? I don't understand. Are we going to live our life in a bubble the rest of our lives? Are you going to ask teams and players to look? The NBA can do it because 90% of the league will be out of the bubble after 1 month because they get knocked out of the playoffs. But you're going to ask college football guys, professional football guys from August 1st, all the way through the bowl season, that they're going to be away from everybody. And because of a virus that doesn't kill any of these 18 to 22-year-olds at a near enough clip to be able to cancel it? Like, why do we have cars? People die every day in auto accidents. Why aren't lawmakers passing, bills that say you can't drive? People can die. And even getting down all the way down the list, because I try to do like knowledgeable and try to be factual when I try to bring some arguments about what makes sense and what doesn't make sense. Like, how about birth defects? 1% of newborns have birth defects. We still have children. So if 1% have birth defects and maybe even death, why wouldn't doctors tell you, you know what? It's really not safe to have children, but 1% of those are going to pass away or have severe birth defects. Do you see what I'm trying to say? Like, if the odds are in your advantage, you have to live your life. You can't worry about what's going to take place 20 years down the road or 30 years down the road. And again, if 90-year-olds were playing college football, we would have a completely different analysis on what should take place. Now, we keep moving it down on how healthy these college football players are. Specifically, I'm talking Power 5 conferences here also, which could funnel all the way down. And just using my personal experiences of playing football. You know, we're not going home on the weekends. We play football on the weekends. All our time is monopolized by the head coaches and the assistant coaches and the strength trainers. You have a full load of school and a full load of football all through the fall. So right up until that Thanksgiving break, you're not going home anyway. So you are in a modified bubble. So what's stopping these Division I colleges who are so afraid to say, hey, you know what? Let's keep all the students home and just keep the college athletes on campus, and they'll be in their separate dormitories. And I bring up Penn State because they have wonderful football dormitories, beautiful. It's like their own separate housing development. You can keep them there and keep them safe. So if they do contract coronavirus, you can keep them separated away. You can keep them monitored 24/7 with the best healthcare you possibly can get, free of charge to the athletes. And once they get healthy after 2 to 3 weeks, you put them back on the football field. And if 5 other players get it, you do the same thing as well. Yep, I see out there, Bob wins. Yep, big ragu. Yeah, it is a conundrum. We like, and it's a shame that we have to continue down this path because it really shouldn't be this way. Like, we shouldn't be out here in an area of society where we're rooting for maybe a president not to get voted in, so you restrict things, or you want a president to get in, so you ram things down. I never thought it would be this way. And look, we were at the first encounter of coronavirus. It was probably the right thing to do to shut it down because we didn't know a lot about it. But after a month or two, we realized who it actually affects and why they affect them. And then when the statistics and the numbers come out, we don't use those. That's why I'm having the hardest part here. If you're 65 years old and you have an underlying condition, you shouldn't be out. You shouldn't be out at the store. You shouldn't be interacting with multiple family members because you might get the virus. And we understand that now. But young kids are going to pass it, probably not get into trouble. And we need to go on as a society. And here's what the issue is, which I laugh because I say, like, maybe the kids, the 10-year-olds, the 17-year-olds, the 22-year-olds are the smartest thing we have going into society. Because if you're a kid, like I'm 40 in my 40s now, but if I'm 18 to 22 years old and they showed me a chart and it said, who is actually going to get sick here? And I went down to myself at 18 and was like, I have very little chance at even getting a sniffle. I'm going out to the ballpark and playing today. Maybe they are the only ones listening to science and data when the old timers aren't listening to any of it. Shut it down. Shut it down. I might get sick. And also the second part of the college kids being on campus and getting world-class healthcare is what happens if it doesn't work, right? So if you say, as a collegiate athlete, right, and this is where it's not thought out from the other side of the perspective of not playing football. All right, so let's just say we cancel football, but we want the kids to be safe. We owe them. They're here on scholarship. We're going to give them the best of the best on campus. So you keep the 85 scholarship kids on campus. They're not just staying in their dorm room. They're going to work out at the gym. They're going to go run on the track. They're going to be away. Yes, I understand that. But they're still going to be allowed to go home. And if they come back and test positive, they'll be tested and they'll be separated from the rest of their team and they'll take their online classes. So say, hey, that's the NCAA looking out for them, right? Isn't that the same as playing college football? Look, why would you keep these kids on campus for the next 6 months and do the same things, but just not play on the football field as a game? They're still going to be working out. They're still going to be throwing iron around in the weight room. They're still going to be high-fiving each other. They're still going to wear their masks. They're still going to sanitize. So why wouldn't they be playing out on the football field? And the second point of this is, if the college football season does get shut down, most of these kids aren't going to be on campus. So if college football says, hey, campus closed, football's shutting down, sports are shutting down, instead of being in State College, Pennsylvania, in the middle of PA, you go back to, and I just use this because it's terms that could be recognizable from Penn State. I don't know. You go back to Harrisburg. You go back to Philadelphia. You go back to Pittsburgh. You're going to be around your family. You're not going to be tested. You're going to be going out with your friends, and you're going to be lifting at LA Fitness unsupervised. Just because the kids are going home, a 19-year-old sophomore in college is going to go home and still figure he's going to be a football player. He's not going to sit around and eat potato chips and play Xbox and pizza and never come out into the sun until there's a vaccine. These kids are active. They're going to be working hard. That's why they got these big-time Division I scholarships, because they're ultra competitive. They're just not going to shut it down and say, well, hey, football never comes back. It's no big deal. Stop the madness, man. Like, just be real. The safest place for college athletics and college football players is to be on campus and playing. Now, look, if Colorado State's out here doing a lot of tons of nonsense, right? That's got to be eradicated. We understand that. We really do. But the majority of these campuses, like you see, like the We Want to Plays out here, do you know how well Division I Power 5 football players get treated? Do you know how well they get treated? No stone goes unturned. The best strength trainers, the best food at the training table, the best coaches coaching them, the best healthcare behind the scenes. I mean, let's just be real about this. So, and then just the final part of this before we, complete the rest of the show, hit a little bit of baseball and talk some golf, is you turn on the TV. And again, my rant's on ESPN. And if any, I don't mind arguments. I really don't. But just have some things that are factually correct that can back you up. So they go right away. And I'm not sure if this was 10 o'clock or they flipped on the First Take or whatever it was, or Get Up, one of those on ESPN. But Stephen A. Smith goes on a rant. And he's killing Mark Emmert. Now, look, everybody hates every commissioner in all of sports. It's just what we do as a society. We boo them. You come up to the podium, you get booed. We all hate you because they're the face of authority, and their job is to get paid big bucks to shield the owners from their dumb decisions. So they get $20 million a year, you boo them, and they live with them. Like, look, that's my job here. But Stephen A. Smith goes on a tangent, and he's crushing Mark Emmert. And I don't like Mark Emmert. He doesn't have a lot of the right answers, and it just seems like the NCAA steals money from the colleges. That's what the feel of it is, right? But the leadership on football from an NCAA level has been terrible. Mark Emmert is absolutely incompetent. You idiot, Stephen A. Smith. College football is not run by the NCAA, you idiot. Like, why would you speak on something you have no idea what you're talking about? It's almost the equivalent of saying, if we're using state by state and the two governors we use, Cuomo and DeSantis, it's almost like telling Cuomo, I can't even believe the coronavirus that you are spreading in Miami-Dade County. And Cuomo goes, whoa. I don't have anything to do with Florida. And you go, you're a terrible governor because of what happened in the state of Florida. Whoa, I'm the governor of New York, you moron. I have nothing to do with the state of Florida. But again, it goes unchecked, and people who don't know any better will watch ESPN and be like, you know what? The NCAA is so stupid. They had the NCAA, Mark Emmert, he had no plan for college football. He doesn't have a say in college football. Man. Like, I could go all day on this, and I know, you're not looking at the this and that. I'm trying to compare what actually happens to statistics with science and data on a day-to-day basis of what's taking place with these kids. I have a lot of friends. I don't even sell college football packages on my website anymore. 90% of my stuff I do in the fall, right up through January 1, is about the NFL. I love college football. I watch college football. I think it's fantastic. But the NFL is my bread and butter. And there's a lot of people out there my friends that do college football, that are going to take a beating if this goes down. And it doesn't have to be this way. Like, we all took it on the chin right back in March when, look, the NCAA's got to shut down. We all thought it might be a week or two where all sports stopped, and we knew it. Said, look, the government said, give us 15 days. Let's figure this out, and then we'll get back to normal and start opening things up. And that turned into 5 months. But now we have the science and data. And where's all you model guys out here? I thought the model guys were the smartest. Where I see on here, like, my point spread says the Sixers win by 2.1 points tonight. Where are those model guys out that are running models with the coronavirus and collegiate athletes? Like, why aren't they out forefront with their models going, yeah, this disease shouldn't affect these kids and they should be able to play? But I hope I laid it out here. It took 25 minutes, but I just tried to lay out my point of view in a no-nonsense matter of what we're doing here. Because if the rate of death or incapacitation of the coronavirus was, if you get it, you're going to be knocked off your feet for 6 to 8 months where you need to be on a ventilator, nobody should ever play college football until we get it absolutely figured out. But until the people that are making decisions at the highest level take politics out of it, we're doomed as a society all the way through. Because if we don't listen to what the actual science and data is telling us on a day-to-day basis, we'll never get college sports back. Because what happens when coronavirus shows up or a strain of it shows up again next summer and Alabama has 3 guys infected? We're going to have to shut the entire sport down again, even though these kids probably won't even need a tissue coming back here. Going to take a quick break here. We're going to set up the rest of the show. Thank you guys for tuning in. If you haven't done so yet, 400 subscribers here on my YouTube channel. Please hit the subscribe button and the notification bell. I really appreciate it. Same thing if you're watching live out there on Twitch or if you are watching on Periscope or Facebook. I do appreciate everything and every time you guys watch. RightWager.com. We'll be back in just 1 minute. Finish out the show here. Hey guys, Donnie here with RightWager.com, your handicapping home on the internet. As you know, we specialize in NFL, Major League Baseball, and NCAA hoops. And as always, we are 100% verified on third-party CapperTech.com. If you are a gambler, this is your place to be. Affordable packages, 1 day, 7 days, 30 days, 6 months, and even up to a year. Also, when you stop by the site, you'll notice sports content right here with the live broadcast home of Sports Betting with Donnie. There is no better place to be in the handicapper community than RightWager.com. And as always, I like to say, what side are you on? All right, folks, welcome back into the show, Sports Betting with Donnie, presented by RightWager.com. And again, just watch that commercial right there. We do start up this weekend, this Saturday with Major League Baseball. So exciting. Been down for 5 months, and it just shows, look, I don't want to steal anybody's money because if I'm not betting, you're not betting. I don't need money hard up enough to steal some money and say, well, I'm just going to coin flip this game and I know people will buy my packages. We waited 5 months. We're going to be back in play August 15th, and we're going to have a great season in Major League Baseball leading right into the National Football League season. Now, Indians Plesac sent home. If you haven't heard yet, the Indians, after covering the team totals on both Saturday and Sunday, sent one of their better pitchers home because he was out in Chicago since they're playing the White Sox, and met up with family and friends and was out here canoodling and out amongst the public. And they're serious about not spreading and doing dumb things like most young adults do from time to time and spreading it around the team and having a shutdown. Because the one thing that is true between college athletes and professional athletes, it's a lot more money on the table. There is a whole hell of a lot more money on the table for the professional leagues than there are the NCAA for the players themselves. So players shouldn't be doing this because it only leads to hurting their overall checkbook. But it's good to see that they say, I don't know how long they're going to send them home for, but I guess some sort of incubation period of at least 5 to 6 days. So homeless will start and probably tested each and every day and allowed to come back, and a nice slap on the wrist and a fine. And you lost a couple game checks overall. But good on the Indians of Cleveland to take Zach Plesac out of the equation and not say, hey, you know, we need you to pitch. You're pitching well. We want to make the playoffs. Safety. That's using safety and being smart in the right direction. So again, if you're watching the professional ranks here that are playing, a guy went out asymptomatic to a bar, didn't even test positive, sent him home anyway. So if you see some of your players straying and going into other schools and, you know, same campuses or driving, 25 minutes to another campus to go to a party, remove them from the equation. And if you saw a couple days back last week, Louisville did that. I believe it was a soccer team. 3 kids had a party on campus. It led to an outbreak. They dismissed those kids from the team and the university. Good on them We're trying to make up for that stuff. Collin Morikawa takes the PGA. How about that? It was real. Look, wasn't real high on this tournament on Thursday because I thought it was kind of boring. No fans, new golf course. Took some time to get to get used to it. Didn't love the PGA, but it was a great Sunday finish. You had a lot of guys that were involved. I believe at one point, 7 players tied at 10 under heading down the backstretch. So it was exciting as it comes in. Morikawa outlasted everybody. But I got to tell you, if you're like some of the young guys in golf, you got to like the fact that it's coronavirus. And you say, well, why would you like that? Like, don't you like playing in front of the fans? There's a different level of stress that comes along with winning a major championship. When you're coming down the back nine on Sunday and it's 25 deep, ringing the fairway and the greens, watching you come all the way in, that pressure is outrageous. When you're leaning over that 8-foot putt and you can hear a pin drop with 15 to 20,000 people surrounding in a bowl around the green, that's intimidating. So Morikawa, nice to get one out of the way. You're young, pick up a PGA Championship. You don't have to stress the rest of your life. No matter what happens, the monkey's off your back. Now you can just let it rip for the next 15 to 20 years and see how many you can pile up if you're that good. But it's got to be nice to win your first major around no fans because you don't get that true test of coming down the backstretch in a major tied with 7 other guys where you have to pull through and knock down 8-footer after 8-footer with all those fans around. You can just sort of equate like you're a 16-year-old playing by yourself, carrying your own bag on your local municipal golf course at that point because there's not that many people around. But good on him for winning the PGA Tour. That was fantastic. I thought it was a great marksmanship coming down and nailing a couple things. Chad Williams, yeah, but we're rooting for him, man. We're rooting for the SEC. The SEC is the last bastion of integrity that we have out there in college football. And if you guys follow me on Twitter at RightSideVP, you will know that. Because you ask yourself an honest question. And I know Taylor H is in here with the Razorbacks going through some tough times out there. I hear you. But if you ask yourself a question, if you're a football fan, I love the Miami Hurricanes. I've always loved the Miami Hurricanes since the mid-'80s when I was a kid. Always loved them. Now, after 2005 or 6, there's been a lot of tough times for Hurricanes. We're back. We're not back. The swag is back. The U is back. The U is not back. The U is getting killed by Clemson like 60-0. The U is back. We beat Notre Dame. The U is back. We're 10-0. The U is not back. We lost our last 2 games, and Clemson blows us out in the ACC title game. But I have to tell you, if Miami football did not play this year, and it was just the SEC, and Ohio State was fed up with the Big Ten, and Clemson was fed up with the ACC because they weren't playing, and both of those 2 teams joined the SEC, would we have any issue with the college football season? Would you be? But I wanted to watch San Jose State, Donnie. But Donnie, you love the MAC. It's got to hurt you to your core. You can't watch Kent State play. No, it doesn't. It really doesn't. It shortens up your time. It allows you to focus on less games. No brain lock or freeze. Boy, I like these 17 games on Saturday. No. You'd only have about roughly 10 games every weekend. They would be staggered like they were in the NFL. As I already said, a Friday night SEC game of the week, a game at 12 o'clock, maybe 2 games at 2 o'clock, 2 games at 4 o'clock, 2 games at 6. The primetime game, you start at 9 o'clock on a Saturday night down in LSU, Alabama LSU. Don't even get me started on this thing, man. Like, would you have any? But, Donnie, I love Texas, and Texas is back. Who cares if Texas football plays again, man? Stop. They don't factor into anything. The SEC is the NFL of college football. Just let them let it rip and invite some guys from the outside. Like, that good pickup game, that good court where you might play in one county in your state, and you and your best 5 from that county go over to the next county, be like, we're taking down this county over here. We want some high-class games. That's like the SEC saying, we're taking applications. Clemson, you're in. Ohio State, you're in. Nobody from the Pac-12 is in. Maybe Oklahoma will take from the Big 12. Something like that. We'll just have auditions out here. But let the NFL play and let the NFL rip. I can really get behind that. I really can. Let's talk a little bit of Major League Baseball. Now, let's bring up the little bit banner here. Check it down. The review. Let's get some interesting doings here over the weekend. I got to tell you, on Friday, I do a great baseball show with a great guy, Jason Radowitz, on sportsbookreview.com every day at 1:30 p.m. Eastern. We go over just about every game we possibly can in that 30 to 40 minutes, give out some best bet winners. However, on Friday, the Indians decided to put the entire city of Cleveland on base and weren't able to knock any of them in. But I was fortunate enough on Saturday and Sunday to trust my numbers and get the Indians to cash in for me Saturday and also last night on Sunday. But you needed a little bit of help in extra innings, but that's what extra innings are for now. Extra innings are for tacking on runs. Unbelievably good for team totals, man. Just get again to 3-3 at the end of extras or the end of 9 innings. You're good to go in the playoffs, man. Into extra innings. Orioles beat the Nationals. Braves swept the Phillies. And look, you can say whatever you want about the bullpen for the Phillies, but if you have Vince Velasquez going 4 innings and the bullpen getting torched, that's just ridiculous as is. Young kid Spencer Howard pitched okay for the Phillies, but they dropped 2 games. They're not a good baseball team overall. Andrew McCutchen is done. Absolutely. I mean, he limps around the base pass. He hits 100. He can't really field his position all that great. Oh, but Donnie made a nice diving catch last week sliding. Yeah, he did. But did you see him on Sunday? Come on, man. How many times do I have to see him limping around the outfield? Scott Kingery, he's a mess. Looking up in that, Rhys Hoskins looks like he might finally be breaking out. Got some solid contact on Sunday, but he's been terrible. Yankees 10-6 now after the hot start. The Rays go 8-8. Red Sox 6-9 after walking off the Blue Jays. 2-run shot. How about the Tigers? We laughed at the Tigers and said, boy, the Tigers are going to be one of the worst teams in the entire Major League Baseball. The Tigers sit out here with a winning record of 8-5. Twins go down to the Royals. Brew Crew dead in the Reds, man. Dent Sonny Gray and the boys. So a lot of these things still bad. And how about the Giants? Like yesterday, I had a team total on the Giants over 2.5. Actually, it was over 2.5 at most places, like minus like 140. But where I got down, it was +3. Excuse me, a T total of 3, excuse me, and +100. But I ended up dropping that. That was with a local. They get 2 runs, I believe, in the 5th inning. All I needed to do was just tackle one more to get me a push and keep it moving. They weren't able to do that. Really pissed me off in that one. But again, the Phillies were embarrassing. Interesting game on Sunday Night Baseball between the Indians and the White Sox. Team total was 4. They end up with 5. Good to see the suicide squeeze working in extras. Let's take a look at today. What do we got today here? Let me bring up the stream. Let's go center stage. Let's take this down so we get that full view. And let's get a quick preview. Look, I got it nice and enlarged for us out here, too. You guys appreciate that? You know how, like, you're an old man, and it's like, hey, man, put that on, like, +150 on the screen magnification. So I did that for you folks out there who are watching through YouTube or Periscope, whatever it is. A little bit easier to read at this point. You have to squint your eyes. You don't have to turn it on full screen. Get a pretty good feel. And you see some of these check marks here over to the left. That's just some of the games that we're going to be talking about on sportsbookie.com's Major League Baseball show at 1:30 p.m. We'll be able to hit everything. Nola's on the mound versus Newcombs. The Phillies don't win tonight. I don't know what to tell you. You might just, even though we have the expanded playoff, they need to win a game. You need to win a game with your ace on the mound. And you need to win a game against Newcomb, who has the ability to walk a ton of batters, and also with a lineup where you can stack right-handed bats if you're the Philadelphia Phillies. You got to win that game. You really do. Dallas Keuchel will be on the mound versus Fulmer. Chicago White Sox, heavy ticket action coming in on those White Sox and Keuchel. And you got some reverse line movement out here. Pinnacle opened up at 147. They're at 140 now. And I did add also to my repertoire here, PointsBet, who is out of New Jersey. And you see some of these, New Jersey. And I always joke around because it's one of the few things that I actually like about New Jersey. We have the highest taxes. The density is ridiculous. The traffic is bad. There's not a lot of pluses in New Jersey. So why I stay here, I don't know. I guess because my family's here. But we do have a ton of sports books and a ton of legal sports books. And we can't stress that enough because I remember I was in the same boat as everybody else a couple years ago. You have offshore, you're worried about getting your money, and do you really want to do this? And they want to give you, we need your license, and I won $100 this weekend, and then the sports book cost me $50 to ship me my $100, so I actually lost money just by playing, even though I thought I won. We've all been there before. But New Jersey's got it going on, man. We have like feels like hundreds of sports books that we can actually lean on and go to. Battle lefties here, Corbin and Matz. This line, again, 70% here. Percentage coming in, 80% of the money. Pinnacle opens up at 108. That now sits at 117. So the line is going in the right direction if you're looking to back the Nats, who really, thank God they have Soto back, who gives them a little bit of offensive help. Because outside of that, team stinks at the plate. And also gets into a bigger picture. Like if you're the Washington Nationals, and you had over the past couple of years Bryce Harper and Anthony Rendon and your World Series team, why aren't you keeping those guys? Isn't your money supposed to be right as you're making playoffs after playoffs after playoffs and getting that postseason money? Why would you break that up? Oh, Bryce Harper left and I won a World Series. Trust me, Washington Nationals are a better team with Bryce Harper on it than not on it, you knuckleheads. That doesn't factor into any decision whatsoever on that end. Yarborough versus Boston. Don't have a pitcher yet up for Boston. Dobnak, who's been really good. He was really good in his last start against the Pittsburgh Pirates. I had Minnesota on the run line first 5 innings, and I believe they won 1-0 in his last start over the first 5. He's going up against Hauser, who's been pretty good this year as well. How about this ticket count? 78% of the early tickets, about 1,500 off these joint sports books. 8s to 8.5s, 104 to 109. So you don't have too much line movement, even though you have a heavy discrepancy of who's actually betting on this game. Arizona, Robbie Ray is going to be on the mound versus John Gray. Nice little rhyme here. 62% backing Arizona on the road. And how about this line movement here, folks? Colorado opens up at a -141. That drops to a -124. So you got some pretty good line movement at Pinnacle, one of the sharper books. 131 at Chris, 125 over here 5 dimes. And then your typical Coors Field here at 11, 11.5. Let's see what we got for the weather conditions. Look at that. That's what you want at Coors. How about that? Hey, team totals out here popping, right? 90 degrees, 11 miles an hour blowing out the dead center. Come on, folks. Sounds like we might be checking into some team totals out there in Colorado. Seattle and Texas, Dunn versus Gibson. San Francisco, undecided with their pitcher versus Lance McCullers. And then you have Minaya, Tehran, Richards, and May in the nightcap. So for a lot of some good stuff going on here in college Major League Baseball that we want to check out. But we'll break down that entire card coming up at 1:30 p.m. Eastern time. And I like this part. As soon as I get off the air, make myself a nice sandwich, have maybe a protein shake, and then we get ready for the afternoon action where we break down that entire card on Sportsbook Review at 1:30 p.m. Eastern time, right on the YouTube channel. If you haven't watched it, it's everybody's been so kind in the chat box, watching. Great chat box listeners putting in their opinions. We try to get to as many opinions as we possibly can, but also keep in mind, it's not like we're going to stay on the air for 2 hours and cap and bore you guys to death. Like these shows are designed, get in, get out, and get you some winners in your back pocket. And that's what we certainly aim to do when we get after it. Now, look, Monday through Friday, we do it each and every time right here, Sports Betting with Donnie, presented by rightwager.com. I would like to stay on here all day, but I do thank you for joining me again. I just wanted to say my piece over those first 25 to 30 minutes of my thoughts on college football. Hope you guys appreciate that, and I will be back tomorrow right here. And again, if you're watching this back on the replay, don't ask for any money here watching these shows. Just go ahead and hit the subscribe button, because also starting this weekend as well, which will carry through right through the rest of the sports, on this YouTube channel, I will be sending out plays, through the website. Obviously, if the website's going to be separate with subscriptions and stuff, but every once in a while, I'm still going to be giving some of those plays out on the site, breaking it down, getting those videos 3 to 4 minutes, try to make you a smarter handicapper and put more money in your pocket is what the design of the show is. So I do want to thank you for tuning in. I'll be back tomorrow, 11 a.m., bright and early, right here on Sports Betting with Donnie, presented by rightwager.com.